A lot of Nigerians who has no clue about the history of the sapiens thinks history started with a man and a woman, and Christianity was the first religion since Abraham is the father of all nations. But I hate to break it to you folks. The Chinese invented wheelbarrow long before Jesus was born, or Christianity was mentioned by anyone if Jesus really existed as an historical figure. I said if because a lot of faithfuls are so certain that the Bible is an established fact without debate, without contention. They are really committed, completely ignorant. In this video, which will be the first of a series of videos about the historicity and the accuracy of the New Testament, I'll be focusing on the canons, about who wrote them, the forgeries, the contradictions, the accuracies, the fictions, and the mistakes. I'm focusing on the later part of the Bible because a lot of people actually think the Old Testament is related to the New Testament, but I had to break it to you once again. It is not related. They are not related. And if you actually want to find out if they're not related, you should check out my YouTube page. I'll be giving you a full detail later. If you like this video or want the full series, please subscribe on my YouTube channel. Please check out my YouTube channel and give me a subscription. I'm trying to make some things happen. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter because the purpose of this series is to enlighten Nigerians so as to combat the spread of misinformation in our society and also so to get the conversation going on the issues that really controls our lives, like God actually is an identity-driven belief. I'm trying to get to at least 2,000 subscribers before I can invite a man I really revere, a world-renowned theoretical physicist, on the podcast this December and talk about science in Africa. So without wasting time, let's get to Jesus. What does it mean that a book is historically accurate? Imagine in some hundred years from now, you saw a book talking about the NSAT protest in 2020, and it mentioned places like Lagos, Ogbomoso, Lekki Gate, Oshiomole, Osinbajo, and it says something like Osinbajo was the president. Of course, you know that Osinbajo wasn't the president during that time. Does that actually mean the Lekki massacre never happened, or Osinbajo was the president at the time? Because it actually mentioned real places and real people. It doesn't actually matter. You want to know if what actually the book said it happened actually happened. This seems to be the only requirement, the only criterion that Christians required to actually believe in Christ, to actually believe in the Bible. Because it actually mentioned real places like Jerusalem, it mentioned places like Damascus and all of those things. What really happens when we shine a brighter light on the Bible? Can it stand the scrutiny of critical inquiry? In this series, I recommend you have a Bible with you. Matthew 2 verse 1.
After Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea, during the time of King Herod,
Historian Josephus lived in the 1st century and he wrote about the passing of Herod the Great. In his book Antiquities and Jewish War, he records that Herod's reign was 34 years and his death shortly after before a Passover and a lunar eclipse. The scholarly consensus for Herod's death to this day is 4 BC. Prior to this date, a date of 1 BC has been assumed. This gives us the precise time when Jesus was born, during the time of Herod the Great. The general consensus for the birth of Jesus Christ is between 4 BC and 1 AD. It is said that it was during the time of King Herod, although there are no independent sources attesting to the life of Jesus during his time, and I have to emphasize this. The Bible is not written as an historical document. No historian wrote about Jesus during his time alive if he existed as an historical figure, which makes him a work of fiction or was insignificant. So we have the time. Herod let go of his power to his son Archalaus in the year 4 BCE. 4 BCE or 1 CE of Herod's death. This isn't a man visiting dignitaries or ordering the death of children. This seems like a man on his deathbed. Herod missed Jesus' birth. What happens when we factor in more data?
In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. This was the first census that took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria.
So Joseph also went up into Nazareth in Galilee, to Judea, to Bethlehem and to the town of David because it belonged to the house and line of David. This is a big problem. What does it mean that Joseph is traveling to the house of David? David was a king that existed 1,000 years before. And Jesus isn't related to Joseph, but the Bible actually gave us a chronology of the life of Joseph. But I don't know why it did, but they did. David existed 1,000 years before. How does that really work? Imagine right now that you were told to go to your ancestral home 1,000 years before now, 1,000 years before now. How is that gonna work with your Androids and with your iPhones, with your laptops and with the satellites? Can you actually find out your thousand ancestral home from thousand? And we were told this was during the reign of Caesar Augustus. Caesar Augustus ruled from 27 BC to 14 AD. This seems to jive well with Geo's birth. Then it continues.
This was the first census that took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria.
Let's check the date. Josephus Antiquities 18.1 tells us Quirinius, a Roman senator who had proceeded through all the magistracies to the consulship, and a man who was extremely dignified in all other respects, arrived in Syria, dispatched by Caesar to the governor of the nation and to make an assessment of their properties. Quirinius also visited Judea, which had been annexed to Syria, in order to make an assessment of the properties and of the Jews, to liquidate the state of Archalaus, brought charges against him before Caesar. Now the territory subject to Archalaus was added to the province of Syria, and Quirinius, a man of consular rank, was sent by Caesar to take census of the property in Syria and to sell the estate of Archalaus. Wait another minute. Quirinius became governor during Archelaus' rule. The Archelaus' rule began in 4 BC when Herod died. Quirinius became governor of Syria 10 years after Herod died, and couldn't have been the governor when Herod was alive. Luke can't be right. There is a 10-year gap. Every single historian actually knows this. They don't teach you in church, but every single historian actually knows this, that this couldn't be correct. This is actually a false statement in the Bible. It's a lie. The question is, if his parents are from Nazareth, why does he need to be born in Bethlehem? The author knew Jesus was raised in Nazareth, but wanted Jesus to be born in Bethlehem because it was the ancestral home of King David. This is actually a passage of the Bible, both Matthew and Luke, in response to actually make it look like Christianity is an ancestral religion. It is actually an old religion. So it would be like he's the Messiah. I will actually be explaining that further in the next video. Because when the authors who read Luke contradict each other, if Jesus was born under King Herod, the census could not have happened under Quirinius. Speaking of contradictions, Luke described what happened after Jesus' birth. Luke said Jesus was circumcised after 8 days, and according to Leviticus and the laws of Moses, 32 days after a woman gives birth, she's supposed to perform a sacrifice for ritual purity.
When the days were completed for their purification according to the law of Moses, Mary and Joseph took Jesus up to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord. When they had fulfilled all the prescriptions of the law of the Lord, they returned to Galilee, to their own town of Nazareth.
Then Matthew came to us, telling us Luke was in the measure of all things. An angel appeared to Joseph, telling him to run.
Now when they had departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream.
Arise, take the young child and his mother, flee to Egypt, and stay there until I bring you word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him.
When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed for Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod.
If Luke says that Joseph spent a month in Jerusalem after Jesus was born and returned to Nazareth, Matthew can't be right when it said that they fled to Egypt and waited till Herod died. The chronology doesn't work. This is a clear contradiction in the Bible. But no one, if you're actually hearing this for the first time, you were never taught in church that this is actually a real contradiction. There you go, folks. A lot of things that weren't mentioned to you in your church. That was actually really pretty a lot combined, and it is not the research. I just want to introduce you to Jesus Christ in particular. So, in the coming series, you should check out my YouTube channel. I will be creating a series about the forgeries in the Bible, the contradictions, and the anonymous writings, the books that never made the Bible, every single thing. You should check out my YouTube channel. I'll be posting it there, and you can pre-order a book, the blueprint for this series, on my website www.yourmadictravel.com/. forged. This is a book written by the leading historian in the world, leading biblical historian in the world. His name is Bart Ehrman. He has been featured on National Geographic, CNN, and every Fox News and all other media companies you could actually think of, focused on news and real facts. He's a guy who is very accurate about his understanding of the Christianity history, and you can check out in my page to actually buy a book, pre-order the book. It is a blueprint for every series, the series on these contradictions and the anonymous writing. So the book is $15. You can pre-order it for $15 for the next 30 days. You can pre-order it for $15, or I think 27 days or so. You can pre-order it for $15 instead of $34 that it will cost you to actually buy it on Amazon. It is not on Jumia, but I'm certain I've checked it out. You can pre-order the book. The first 30 people, not the first 30 days, no, sorry about that. The first 30 people can pre-order the book for $15 instead of $34. The book is about the forgeries in the Bible. The books that never made the Bible. The who wrote, like, for example, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They were not the writer of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. A lot of things like that. A lot of books in the Bible, and the proof itself is in the Bible, but you never hear it in church because a lot of pastors don't even understand these things. So you check out my YouTube channel and subscribe. So please click subscribe. I'm trying to invite someone in man I actually revere to Nigeria, an astrophysicist, and I need your subscription. So give me a thumbs up and please donate $1. To at least do us $1 to the YouTube page. I'm combating the spread of misinformation, and this is a lonely fight. I think I'm the only one doing this in the whole of Nigeria. Like with the YouTube channel and with the podcast and all. I think I'm the only one doing it. So please support the channel. My goal is to enlighten Nigerians, Thank you. Peace.